ごときに。
Hey everyone, this is gonna be a quick little review on the Megaman 0 ZX Legacy Collection. I just wanted to make this video to get my thoughts out there, so let's just dive in. And spoilers, these games are really good. Let's just start off with the first game. 0-1 is probably the weakest of the bunch here. All these games have some sort of progression system in them, but this one is by far the worst of the 6. Every weapon you end up getting is super weak, and the only way to power them up is to keep attacking enemies over and over again. The early game feels so slow because of this.
Slow? They called you slow! How dare you call me that?
Hey homie, you still here? Boy, you are slow.
Something said not good.
Get the hell out of here!
And getting E-crystals takes forever. You use these E-crystals to level up Cyber Elves, and in return they give 0 buffs when used. You don't need to max out all the Cyber Elves you collect in the game, but for the ones that increase your HP, you'll be doing a lot of farming. Just why? Why is there so much farming in this game? I'm also not a fan of some of these stages. Some of the levels are connected to the main hub level and it feels a little weird honestly. You'll be repeating most of these levels a number of times. The only differences are the bosses you fight at the end of them. Other than that, the game is still solid. Tearing through enemies with the Z-Saber still feels good after all these years. It has its issues, but it's still a fine game. 6 out of 10. 0-2 fixes a few things but still has a few flaws. But for one, the grinding isn't as time consuming as it was in part 1. Throughout my playthrough, I never had to repeat a level to farm. You can now view boss portraits before the start of a level like a traditional Mega Man game, giving you an idea of what skills you think would work best against the boss. And the levels are structured like a traditional Mega Man game instead of there being one main base that connected all the other levels together. The game still makes you level up each weapon you have, so the beginning still feels a little slow like it was in the first game. One other issue I have with the game is how you acquire the EX skills. These aren't necessary to get in order to complete the game, but they're so damn cool to use. There are Cyber Elves that automatically get you a better grade when using them at the start of a level, but it doesn't fix my gripes with this. Overall, a minor improvement of 0-1 with a few flaws, 7 out of 10. Some people might consider 0-3 to be the best of the 4 games, and I can admit it improves on a lot over the prior 2, but it still has problems. But let's start with the good. And finally, they got rid of the level progressions with the weapons. You can finally start off with a triple saber strike or a fully charged buster shot in the beginning. Thank God for that. Some of the Cyber Elves in this game can now be equipped to 0 instead of being a one-time use only item. You will still need to get E-crystals to level up the elves, but just like 0-2, it's not as bad as it was in 0-1. The level design is pretty good too, and accompanying that is the music. However, you still need a good grade to get the EX skills, and I still don't like this. That's really my biggest gripe with this game. Very tried and true to what you've come to expect from these games at this point, and I really don't have much else to say. Small incremental improvements makes this better than the first 2 games. It's not reinventing the wheel, but it's still a good game. I give it an 8 out of 10. Megaman 04, aka, in my opinion, the best one. This is the one that feels most like a traditional Mega Man game. You start off with the intro stage and later you're introduced to the 8 bosses. With the last game, you only had about 4 levels to choose from before unlocking the other levels. With 04, once you complete the intro stage, all 8 levels will be unlocked, letting you choose any order you wish to go through. It's a small change, but I much prefer doing it like this than in the last 3 games. You also don't need to get a high grade anymore to unlock the EX skills. Granted, there aren't that many in here compared to the other games, but at least you don't have to stress about getting a perfect run anymore. All you need to do to unlock the EX skills is to play the levels on the quote-unquote bad weather. Once you finish the stage, you're good to go. The Cyber Elf you get in this game is also equipable like it was in Part 3. You only get one in this game, but it can have up to 3 traits from elves from prior games. I have very little issues with 04, but one of those issues is getting random item drops for Zero to build new parts for him. The other would be that the cutscenes can be a little too long if you don't care about them and just want to jump into the gameplay. Besides that, it's still a fun game. Great level design and difficulty that isn't too hard yet too easy makes this my favorite of the 4. 9 out of 10. Now, on to ZX. It's definitely a bit different from the prior 4, hell, even any other Mega Man game. The gameplay is still there. Because your character is a mix between 0 and X, the saber feels very familiar and the Buster Shot feels big and meaty. You can even unlock different forms based on the 4 Guardians from the 0 series, and they each have their own types of skills. The music is also kick-ass and it has no reason to be this good. So, what's wrong with this game? The problem with the game is that it wants to be a kind of Metroidvania type of game, but the map system is atrocious. All it gives you is a current area you are in, but never shows you exactly where you are in that area. Because of this, it's really hard to know where you're going, how much of a given area you've explored, or even something as simple as getting back to the transporter to get back to the main base. I love a good Metroidvania, but ZX looked like it could have done so much better with the proper map system. And you'll be doing a bit of backtracking in this game as well. The game still feels really good to play. I would just recommend googling a map or something so you don't get frustrated like I did. 7 out of 10. And now on to the final game of the collection, ZX Advent. This game doesn't change much from the first ZX game, but it does fix the awful map system. It's not perfect, but it's way better than it was in the first game. I actually didn't have to Google a map this time. In Advent, you don't play as the same character from the first game, so no Z-Saber from the get-go. The 2 characters you choose from have slight differences with how their Buster Shot works, but they're not too different from each other. The gimmick in this game is that they can change into almost any boss they defeat, giving you access to that boss's arsenal of moves. It's cool, but I mostly just stuck to the original form because of how they control. Instead of transforming into bosses, I wish your character would have just gotten a new weapon, like a traditional Mega Man game. Some of the boss characters feel really awkward to control at times. And yes, you do get the ZX form eventually, and it still feels great in this game. This game also has voice acting. It may not be good, but it's still enjoyable to listen to if you want to have a few laughs.
You accept my thorny embrace and allow your soul to be scattered like petals on the breeze. Stay away from me!
Stop! I'm the one you want.
What? A girl? I'm busy. Just wait there. I'll get to you.
Overall, this game isn't much of an improvement from ZX, but it's still a solid Mega Man game. Good old jumpin' shootin' fun. If only it didn't end on a cliffhanger. 7.5 out of 10.
The nerve. I'm wilting. Wilting. Yeah.
The collection is the best way to get access to play these games. Having a normal sized controller in your hand or even playing in handheld mode is light years better than playing on the cramped GBA screen. There's also a save assist feature, which is a welcome addition to these games. It makes these games a breeze to go through by not having to restart a level when you run out of lives. You're actually able to learn boss patterns because of this. It does trivialize the game a little bit by giving you unlimited continues, but I would rather have this than have to play an entire level all over again because I didn't know how to beat a boss. Oh, and lives are basically meaningless, so just skip them. You can turn off save assist if you want to play the games how they were originally intended, if you're some kind of masochist. You can also play with casual scenario mode turned on. This gives you all the power-ups from the get-go. I only played this on my second playthrough just to check it out. I would only recommend it if you only cared about wanting to know the story of these games. There's also the Z Chaser mode, which lets you speed through hand-picked levels for each game. You basically compete against a CPU or someone sitting beside you. Honestly, I didn't play this mode that much as it didn't look too appealing to me, but it's there if you want to try it out. Overall, for $30, this is one of the best Megaman collections you can get. Some of these games may feel dated, like 01, but they're all great to play, and I consider these to be some of the best Megaman games out there. Oh, and one more thing. Capcom also released the soundtracks for all of these games on Spotify, Apple Music, and Steam. I know throughout the video I've been talking about how much I like the music of these games, so now there's an easy way to listen to them. Thanks, Capcom. That's gonna be it for this video, but thanks for sticking around to the end of this and listening to me ramble on about these games. If you've enjoyed what you've watched so far, why not click the like button, or comment down below, or even subscribing to the channel. This video ended up being a lot longer than I thought it would be, but it is what it is. Until next time, later.
Aren't you going to finish me off? Very well, I yield to you. As long as your opponent is still alive, the game of destiny isn't over. One day you'll regret not finishing me off.